What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about 5 ways to prevent burnout. Now, somebody wrote me a question. I'm going to read the question and I'm going to answer the question. And obviously, it's about burnout. Somebody said, I followed your channel for a while now. Maybe you've done a video about it and I already missed it. But can you do a video addressing dating burnout and bitterness? Well, yes. Yes, I can. Obviously, people get tired. They grow fatigued with the disappointment of dating and obviously not succeeding or being rejected. They can be very emotionally taxing. It's tiresome to try with no results, right? With no reward, especially emotionally, which is usually the reward that a woman is holding dear. The security of a commitment, the security of someone who's going to be a companion and committed to meeting them in the middle in a mutually beneficial relationship, right? It's extremely exhausting to go through the lack of that in people who breadcrumb you and minimal effort you to death, and the people who are just completely unavailable to your advancements and reject you. Right? Those things are emotionally taxing and psychologically exhausting and disheartening. I get it. So these are 5 ways to prevent burnout so that you can stay in the game and avoid the type of mindset that will cause you to give up on your own dreams of being in a relationship if that is what you want. Now, with that said, the first way to prevent burnout is to stop overcompensating for what you're not receiving from the guys you date. This creates a lot of burnout very quickly. It exhausts you. Over leveraging yourself, overcompensating for the distance, the neglect, the separation, the effort, the focus, the commitment, the dedication, whatever it is, even the intellectual or emotional connection, the conversation skills. Stop overcompensating for men who don't know how to talk, who can't talk, who refuse to talk, who won't see you, who can only see you on this day or that day, who require more than they give, all of those things. You might try to ignore it. You might pretend that the resentment in your heart isn't developing, but it is. It's exhausting trying to manage your disappointment and your emotions while giving maximal effort. You're fatiguing yourself. You're giving yourself burnout. Just like if someone was to go to the gym every day and work super hard every day and then go home and not get any sleep and then go back to the gym and go back to work and keep the super busy schedule and never let their body rest or recover. In the same way that someone could experience a nervous system burnout from overtaxing their nervous system with activity and strenuous workouts and physical labor, you can do that same thing to your brain, to your emotions, to your psyche. Don't do that. If somebody's not giving what you're giving, you need to take a step back and figure out if they even have the capacity or willingness to. But stop overcompensating for what they're either not giving you or unwilling to give you, because it causes you to grow tired quick. But you still have to live this life. You still have to go find love. You still have to continue to navigate the dating atmosphere with or without them. And if you continue to do that, you'll be a fragment of yourself when you're all done. And you still might not have the results you want because you'll dedicate that energy and that time to the wrong people. Overcompensating attracts lazy lovers and minimal effort men. Moving on. The second thing that you need to do to help prevent burnout and bitterness is stop personalizing the results of every DM, every conversation, every date, or every connection. Listen, sometimes if a person doesn't like you or they reject you or they're not interested or they're emotionally unavailable, it has nothing to do with you. Everything isn't about you. They're living their own human experience, trying to figure out their own human life and work through their own human issues. They already have a preconceived idea of what they want, the type of person they might settle with, the type of relationship that might be, the type of culture, the type of body, the type of face, the type of voice, the type of personality, the type of spirit, the type of energy. They already have this preconceived notion of their person. Just because you're not that person, which is very hard to be, it's very hard to be a person's picture of perfect. But just because you're not that person doesn't mean it's about you. Doesn't mean that you're not good enough, or doesn't mean that you're not desirable or worthy of love. It just means that you don't fit what they saw for themselves, which could be foolish rigidity. A lot of people have it. But stop taking it so personal that somebody doesn't want you. You should be more concerned with if you should want them, if they've given you enough to impress you and maybe earn a relationship from you. Too often women spend too much time worrying about being liked by a guy or being accepted by a guy than figuring out if this man is even acceptable for them or if they should like him. People like what they like, but that's not personal. Personalizing every failed conversation or every date that doesn't lead to a second date or every DM that runs cold, or every rejection that you have causes you a lot of fatigue. And it makes you want to give up, and it hurts you. It's like these miniature heartbreaks over and over and over. And every stranger, you've given an opportunity and permission and access to your heart to hurt you. That's too much power in the hands of a stranger. In dating, you meet dozens of people. Why give them that much power? I've said this before in videos. Give no one the power to invalidate you. And that's what a lot of you do when you personalize every single failed attempt at dating or conversation with a guy. You've given that conversation or that person, stranger, the power to invalidate you. It shouldn't be personal until you're both important to each other. Moving on. Stop letting your imagination get ahead of your reality and trigger your emotions prematurely. Stop meditating on these guys every time you start talking to him, wondering what he's like, how he's going to act, if he's going to like you, what you could be one day. All of those things serve to do you a disservice. They get you excited for a relationship that hasn't even been established yet. So anytime you do get rejected, or a conversation does run dry, or a date doesn't end up being a second date, you take on some emotional hurt because your mind has already imagined all the relationship possibilities of this imaginary person, this stranger that you hadn't even met or gotten to know. Daydreaming about people you barely know, meditating on them, thinking about them all day, wondering about them is the quickest way to hurt your own feelings and to break your own heart without even being acquainted with the person seriously. I've known women who have almost no rapport with the guy, have had damn near zero conversations with the guy, knows almost nothing about them, but find themselves to be in love. How the hell are you in love with someone you don't know? You've imagined them. You've thought about them. You've meditated on them. You've worshiped them. Meditation is worship. You've worshiped them. And now all of a sudden, you're heartbroken because you can't have them, or they rejected you, or they've used you for sex, when you didn't even have enough information to feel that deeply about them. And you damn sure wasn't familiar enough. You damn sure didn't know them well enough. They damn sure just got to your life. It wasn't even like they were staples in your social circle. They just popped in, and all of a sudden, they're the most important person in the world. Stop letting your imagination take control of your dating experience. If you meet a new guy and he's cute and he's handsome and he's charming and all of those things, that's cool. But refuse to meditate on that man. Stop yourself from daydreaming about the strange men that you meet on this journey to love. If you have to imagine it, it just means you don't know him well enough. And you're in danger of creating a bunch of ideas about him instead of discovering who he really is. So when that stranger disappoints you or rejects you or disappears or ghosts you, it feels like the man of your dreams just left, because he actually did. The person you created a dream about and meditated about and imagined from top to bottom just left you. But it damn sure wasn't that actual person, because you didn't know who the hell they were. You never got that close. When you're dating a guy, please do whatever you can to control your thoughts about him. And make sure that you keep them about the reality, what's really happened, what's really been said, and not what it could mean, not what it could be, not any of those things. Deal with your reality if you want to save yourself heartbreak from strangers, because no one should have that type of power over you who doesn't know you. Moving on. The fourth way to stop fatigue and stop bitterness and resentment and burnout when you're dating is stop giving prepayments and advancements in the form of sex and commitment, whether that be emotionally or energetically. In the music industry, a company might sign a young talented singer or musician or rapper, and they'll give them a check up front because they understand that the use that they'll make of that artist will get them paid on the back end. It's called a record deal advance. They might give that act a couple $100,000 or $1 million because they understand that they can make that money after that person puts in some work with some marketing dollars. That advance is a prepayment for success that they'll invest in and is sure happen. What's interesting is a lot of women treat their bodies and treat their hearts like a record deal advance. They meet a young guy that they like, that they find interesting, that they hope to be loved by, and they'll give him an advancement of an emotional commitment or focus or even their bodies, just because they're hoping to get paid with a relationship, with commitment, and with love on the back end. When that doesn't happen, they feel bamboozled, they feel stupid, they feel used, and they also feel burnt out because yet another one bites the dust, another relationship slipped through their fingers, And they start to think maybe I wasn't good enough at this or that, or maybe my love wasn't good enough, or maybe I'm not good enough. When in actuality, they just over-leveraged and gave too much too soon. Stop trying to prepay men for relationships. If a man wants you, he'll be there for the long haul. You don't have to prepay him. A job doesn't prepay you on Monday in hopes that you'll work up till Friday, because they don't trust you. They make you wait all week to get paid, just so they can get every drop of effort from you that's necessary for the job. Unfortunately enough, women don't do this. They meet a man, they start to like him, and all of a sudden they prepay him all the relationship benefits in hopes that he accepts the job of being their man. If you're dating with intention, you have to treat your heart and your mind and your body like a temple, not a record deal advance. Stop prepaying men who turn out to be unfit for relationships that they don't have to give. It causes a lot of damage, a lot of disappointment, and a lot of resentment being taken for everything you have to offer to receive nothing. And it's the single biggest contributor to dating and relationship burnout. Moving on. The fifth and last way to prevent dating burnout is cut unfit men off quicker. Too often I meet women who meet a guy, determine he's unfit, get absolutely nothing from that man, and try harder and increase their effort and their dedication in order to change his mind, instead of just cutting him off and letting him go. You're better off cutting your losses than gambling until you've lost everything. Cut unfit men off quicker. Think about it like this. If you go to the casino with $1,000 or $10,000 or however much you might gamble with, and you just seem to be having a bad night, and every game and every slot machine and every card table you try, you start losing. Is it better to gamble until all your money's gone, or just cut your losses realizing that you're having a bad night? A lot of you do this with your heart. You realize that things aren't going your way, but you keep coming back. A man shows himself to be unfit. A man shows himself to not want what you want. A man shows himself to be disrespectful or emotionally unavailable or anything like that. And instead of moving on, instead of taking your energy and what you do have to offer a relationship, what's left of your effort, what's left of your energy, what's left of your heart, and getting away from him, you try to stick it out. You try to convince him. You try to earn a relationship. When a man is proven to be unfit, you have to cut him off, because he'll exhaust you. He'll burn out the rest of your energy. He'll use all your reserves up, and he still won't want you. So stop spending so much time trying to date guys, trying to have conversations with guys, even at the DM level. If a guy's DMs are weak, why are you talking to this guy? Why are you still trying to poke at this guy to start this shitty ass conversation back up? You're on a shitty date and the guy's just garbage. Why are you continuing the date? If a guy's giving you minimal effort or minimal conversation or minimal contact, stop trying to figure out how to make it more. If he wanted you, he would give you more. You are exhausting yourself, and it causes you to stop before you find what you're looking for. You have to date intentionally and with some strategy. That means when someone's not giving you what you need, you have to reserve your energy for someone who will. Save your energy for better prospects. What you don't want to do is waste a bunch of time and be unavailable when the right guy comes along because you spent too much time with the wrong guy, with the unfit men. It creates bitterness, resentment, irritation, exhaustion, and fatigue, and a lot of women stop dating before they find the love they're looking for because they dated wrong. With no method, no strategy, without evolving and changing their methodology in time, they just give up and quit. I have way too many conversations with women that tell me they've been single for 10 years because they just gave up. And when I ask them about what they did and what they experienced, the only thing that's obvious to me is that they didn't have any strategy, they didn't date with purpose, and they didn't require anything of the people they dated. So now they've wasted time dating wrong and giving up. It doesn't have to be that way. You can avoid trauma and bitterness and exhaustion by just moving differently. Anyway, I hope this helps. Follow me at KFA24 on Instagram. If you want to call, go to girltalkwithguys.com and book one. I'll get with y'all later.